flat earth community is, it's not a community. There's a few channels that are actually not government paid shills. Yeah, what has the internet done? What has technology done? Well, let's say you have a classroom and it's the city of Enoch or the city of Salem, I'm talking ancient Salem, city of Melchizedek. You have a group of righteous people, and there's a door to that classroom, and as soon as they walk out, they have all this technology, planes, internet, radio. But you have another classroom. You have a bunch of murderers and thieves and people who are very smart, very intelligent, and want to have power over people. And they have the same technology outside of their room. Well, what do you think is going to happen? Our world was given technology by God so that we could curse ourselves, so that we could go to hell, use planes for money, to go to only for business. Have you ever met a person that took a plane to go help a poor person? Or to go do some charity work? There are some. There are a few. What do we use planes for? What do we use buildings for? In the age of building, we have millions of buildings. Well, tall skyscrapers. Maybe not millions, thousands. But we can't house the homeless. And a lot of these buildings are empty or have empty rooms. We can't, this is the richest the world's ever been, but there's a lot of poor people. And the poor people work the hardest. Why aren't laborers billionaires? Why aren't the people who work the hardest the billionaires? Why aren't widows treated right? But anyway, so thinking about YouTube. So there was all this wickedness in the world, trailing clouds of dirt. And along came media, social media. They call it social media. It's not really social, especially now. It's more of just the elites, the devil, giving people media. It's more of a giving media. Like, if it was really, truly social, then Stephen Colbert wouldn't be on YouTube. CNN wouldn't be on YouTube. There would be like this rule where it's like, okay, if you're like a media empire, please don't put videos on YouTube. or at least don't put it in the trending. Like, think about the trending subject in YouTube. Well, what's always trending? CNN, the NBA. Oh man, it's hilarious. So I wanted to talk about talk about this in context with flat Earth. So, God is teaching us that no truth can be unopposed. No truth can be pure or have a pure platform. So, we are kind of taken aback because we thought, oh, it's the flat Earth, I mean, it'll be really religious, it'll be really Christian, we can really put great videos out on YouTube, and it's like, you gotta remember, what does Satan do with the truth? He dirties it. Now, I'm interested in the fact that I know this is simple, but this is really something that I haven't really understood until now. Satan takes Jesus out of everything. Like, think about that. Like, it's really simple, but it's really detrimental. So Satan even takes Jesus out of Christianity, if you want to think about it. But how many health gurus do you know that are praising Jesus for making all the plants? And so I'm talking about all these flat earthers who are just absolutely atheistic, or all of the major flat earth channels, they either don't talk about Christ, or they say he doesn't exist, or they'll give him a wink and a nod, or they'll straight out blaspheme him. Who comes to mind is Eddie Bravo, if that's his name. By the way, if Eddie Bravo, that's a military name. It's like, but he's saying F this, F that, oh my God, all this stuff, just blaspheming God, and it's like, okay. Here's the thing. If you're not smart enough to make the connection between flat Earth and Jesus, you probably shouldn't be making videos on YouTube. You probably shouldn't be a leader in the flat Earth movement, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, how do you know that the Earth is flat, but you're not going to worship Jesus? And we all worship. All of us worship. Did you know that worshiping is a necessity? And it's just natural. It's just natural. You have to worship. The thing is, you either worship worldly things, or lustful things, or your own body, or you worship the truth. So, these people find the flat Earth, and it's like, hey, let's worship the flat Earth. Isn't this awesome that we know the flat Earth? It's like so weird. But that's how Satan does it. Satan, we are watching in real time. How do you say it? We are watching in real time the Satanists, the Luciferians, how they go about fighting against the truth, distorting the truth, taking the truth away from Jesus. And I'm telling you, that's all it's been throughout the history of the world, but that's all it's been throughout the last 100 years. And that's really weird. Like, it really is that simple. Take Christ out of everything. You know, Christ created the world. He made the world in 6 days. He is the one you go to for counsel and comfort. The Holy Ghost is called the second comforter. Think about it. What does God want to do? He wants to comfort you. What is that weird white light? What does Christ want to do? He wants to comfort you. And so what do we get? We get, oh, don't believe in the Bible. Don't believe in the Bible. Don't read the Bible. Don't read the Bible. Don't pray. Don't pray. Don't go to church. Don't love people. Don't forgive your enemies. It's like from the day we're born, you know. We're born into this militaristic, think about it, like, how do you know that you were born into an evil world? Well, it's militaristic. All of us come from military families, you know, and our grandpas and our dads, they were brave. But it doesn't mean that we are a good country. Anyway, so me personally, I'm a Mormon, I'm a Christian, and when I read the scriptures, it says everything, believe in God, believe that He is. It says Christ is the Father of the earth, the Father, and it actually says that, you know. You can have a personal relationship with Jesus now. But the flat earth people, so like, does Globe Busters, if they can't make the connection that, oh, hey, we're being lied to by NASA. If NASA was just trying to get money, or if NASA was just trying to get power over people, it's like that wouldn't make sense. But if they were literally trying to fight against God or hide God, that makes sense. Like, Satan is really evil. Like, Satan really hates God and he loves the power he has. But Satan really hates God. Satan literally is always fighting against God. And so that's what, you know, that's why NASA was set up. And flat earth, the main channels on YouTube, any channel, any videos regarding flat earth should always be encouraging you to come to God and join His kingdom. This is just basic stuff, you know. It's like, okay, well, here's how videos should be, and it's like, when they're not, it's like really weird. It's like Mark Sargent can talk for thousands of hours about the flat earth, but he's too ignorant. Maybe the word for him, or the phrase, would be like, he has no spirituality, like zero. Because how much spirituality do you need to make the connection? Like, oh my gosh, okay, well, there's this huge organization in the world that's literally fighting against the truth. Well, you know what? Maybe God is real. Maybe there is a Satan. Maybe there is a fight going on. and that's that's a good point too. There is a spiritual fight going on, and the flat earth proves it. Now, it proves it in other things. I mean, there's a fight against men and women becoming one. There's a fight against health. There's a fight against peace. The Dalai Lama, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to do a video about him, but how do you learn about the flat earth and not open up the Bible and read a couple verses and receive some revelation? I think that's what's happening to a lot of people. Now here's something that's funny. So you have all these people who are, you have all different kinds of people who are in different stages, right? Like you had people who were Christian already and they learned about the flat earth and it just strengthened their testimony and it made them happier. And then you have people who were like, they were lukewarm. And then you have the people who were like, they used to be Christian and they were really big sinners now. And then they are changing now. And it's like, so you have all these people. And you know what Mark Sargent thinks about that and Eric Dubay? They think they are dumb. So in other words, the people in control of the flat earth movement, they think that everybody in the flat earth movement is an idiot. They don't say it that way, but it's like everybody is like, well, we're coming to Christ. We're going to God. And it's like Mark Sargent's like, well, I don't know. And it's like, well, Mark, if you weren't a hired hand, sword through the globe, whatever. If Dubé wasn't a hired hand, if they had an ounce of spirituality, it's like it's almost like they, in some subtle ways, they're telling you that they're on the side of Lucifer. Now, Dubé's not subtle. Who else? Like maybe Antonio Subaru, Patricia Steer. They're like, yeah, I'm on the side of the devil. Like flat Earth and other hot potatoes. It's like you're mocking God. Like, do you know what a hot potato is? It's like, whoa, this is scary. This is a touchy subject, whatever. It's like, dude, really? Like, how about flat Earth and other truths? Or flat Earth and other spiritual truths? Because here's what I'm saying. Flat Earth is a spiritual subject. But, we have to live in an evil world ruled by Satan, and he has to take the spiritual out of everything. Do you know how cells were created? They were created by a spiritual being called God. Did you know that your body wouldn't work if it didn't have spirit in it? Maybe you don't have just one spirit in your body. Maybe all of your cells have spirits. I don't know. Do the bacteria in you have spirits? In other words, you have a lot of spirit in you. Oh, and then a woman, when she gets pregnant, she can have another human spirit inside of her. Pretty cool. Anyway, we live in a world that's mechanistic, but we've been programmed to not even think of ourselves as spiritual, especially like really programmed societies like China and, whatever. But think of the Muslims. They pray twice every day. They're allowed. It's kind of funny, like, those evil Muslims, but it's kind of funny because it's like the Muslims are allowed and they're taught to think spiritually. In America, like from day one, you're taught to think only about like your body. Now your body is a spirit. There's a spirit inside your body, but it's like only think about your hunger, your physical hunger. Like, don't think about your spiritual hunger. Like I was thinking about this last night. I was thinking about how I don't even think about my spirit some days. Like I don't even like I don't even realize I have a spirit. You know, it's like Jesus said, you know, you'll be blessed if you hunger spiritually. And I'm like, I don't even care about my spirit some days. You know, I don't even, I'm so far gone spiritually that it's just crazy. So I'm like, man, I got to start thinking about that. I got to start praying and meditating and being like, okay, where is my spirit? Like that's how bad it is. It's like, where is my spirit? Like, is it inside me? And then how do I get in contact with my spirit? How do I learn like what I want spiritually? Like, how do I phrase that? Do I say what I want spiritually? Or what does my spirit want? It's almost like I'm thinking of my spirit as a separate person. You know, what does my spirit want? Now, since I'm in a body and since I'm 40 years old, I care about my health, and I care about money and food and sleep and sex. And I think that's okay. But it's like, okay, well, what should you be doing with your time spiritually, you know? So these YouTube channels can come off as sounding good, like Mark Sargent has a good sounding voice. They can come across as intellectual, educated, but here's what we're missing with all of these flat earth channels. There's no spirituality. Doesn't that mean that these channels are run by the devil? Like, it's like everything. It's like biology in high school and college. Since we're born, it's like, here is biology, here is the cell, and here is the mitochondria. It's like, how about you say, wow, like our bodies are so intelligent. Our bodies are God-like. We have the powers of God in us. These are the temples of God. I think a lot of Christians would have studied more in biology, would be more interested in the sciences if the spirit wasn't taken out of them. Especially with evolution, you know, because it's like, you know, evolution's false, but evolution's boring. You know, I mean, it's like, it's so boring. It's like, if you have like a divine creator making everything, that's way more interesting, because then you end up studying something that actually brings you to salvation too. But anyway, it doesn't matter what divine truths come out anymore. Even in the future, there's going to be people like Dubé and all these people that are just going to be like, yeah, this thing's great, but it's just great as it is. There's no one behind it. There's no creative force. And it's like, what? Like, okay, the Atlantean conspiracy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's so... I would say these people are really off topic. If you're only talking about the flat earth with your flat earth channel, like what I mean is, like, if that's all you're talking about is just the structure, you're really boring, and you're really intellectually lazy, and you're really intellectually narrow. Like, come on, like, let's think, let's expand our mind or whatever, you know. And you're never gonna get any of these people converting to Christ, which proves that they're paid channels, that they're shills, that they're Luciferians, whatever. So, Mark Sargent, like, what kind of name is that? Like, what kind of name is Sargent? I mean, is that even a real name? I've never heard the name Sargent or Dubé or Skiba or Subaritz. I've never heard these last names. These people all have last names I've never heard of. Now, Sargent, maybe somebody's heard of that one, and maybe Dubé, but like, no, it's like ODD. It's like, what does ODD really mean? Like odd TV? Like that's the name of your flat Earth channel? Odd? This is odd. It's like they're using these weird words, like flat Earth clues. Like what does that even mean? Like, do you know what a clue is? A clue is people got to realize that a clue is something that can lead you to a truth. But we don't have the clues. We have the truth. Water doesn't curve. The stars, the constellations are always the same. That's not a clue. That's a fact. That's a truth. It should be flat Earth truth. Anyway. As Christians, we have to realize that what's popular on the internet, on media, even if it involves God's creations, it'll be overtaken with these ravenous Satanists. It's like, look at look what happened with evolution. Some guy named Darwin comes along, and it's like, there was a lot of scientists that said, oh yeah, I'm a biologist and I believe this is all created by God. And it's like, oh no, we evolved. Everything evolved from single cells. And now we have all these animals, and it's like, what? Anyway,